And of course, more and more Calgarians are getting air conditioning these days, and they will need it tonight. Those who have it will crank it up.
Yeah, and need it for the rest of this week through pretty much all of next week. This is a long-term thing, and I feel like a broken record over these past couple days, and will continue to be a bit of a broken record for the next 7-8 days. Yeah, this is a long stretch. All right, excessive heat warning, yes, still in place for most of Alberta, and you can also see in the yellow there we have severe thunderstorm watches, and in the orange closer to the Red Deer area we have warnings in place there too. 31 degrees right now in Calgary. It feels like 33 with that humidity.
Back to the weather now, Danielle. Sure, we have the heat, but now on top of it, you have the smoke.
Yeah, a little bit. And if you're sensitive to the smoke, something you notice, or of course needing to pay attention to, is the air quality health index. So we're at a 4 right now, and tomorrow we could be at a 5, but that will likely be the worst we get over this stretch because we have the ridge of high pressure protecting us from most of it. And I'll show you that in just a second. But first, Capital Chef Skycam. Pretty nice day. Yeah, you may have smelled a little bit of light smoke out there through parts of today, and it's hot. Yes, it's hot. We're going to talk about the long stretch here that we're in for with the heat as well, and the thunderstorms. We have a lot going on in a couple of minutes here. Okay, so first, smoke and air quality. When you're at a 4 or 5, you're in the moderate risk here, and as you can see, the ridge of high pressure, you can basically draw it out here. This is a look at the smoke that's out there right now, and really, mainly, that really, really dense smoke is all up to the north, and that will continue to be the case. Now, it will slump down in through parts of Saskatchewan over Friday and Saturday, but for us here in Calgary and southern Alberta, we're getting a little bit of smoke, in fact, from the state side, from the fires in the States, and a little bit of that is creeping in, and later we may see a little bit mix all the way around, but we're going to be protected from most of this, so we're going to get to a 4 or 5, and then we'll start to see things get a little bit better. All right, temperatures right now, 30 in Calgary, feeling closer to 33 with that humidity. You can see 28 for Pincher Creek, so a bit of a different story. Some communities have dropped to the 20s. More cloud cover out there today. We talked about this yesterday. More cloud cover, a system that developed over us, dropped some rain, a little bit in Calgary even earlier today, and some communities seeing that as well. It's also sparking up thunderstorms. So I'm going to do these watches and warnings in layers here because there is a lot to talk about. Excessive heat warning in place. It's been in place for days now and will continue to be in place until middle of next week at least. Rocky Mountain House and Banff, still hot during the day, but overnight dropping below 14 degrees, which is why not under this excessive heat warning. Let's snap in those severe thunderstorm watches and warnings. So in the yellow, these are the watches. So there's the potential for severe thunderstorms, particularly in these areas. And where we are getting them right now is where we have the orange. So the severe thunderstorm warnings in place, especially near Rocky Mountain House and south of that, and the far, far southeast corner of the province. So I'm going to pop in the radar here. These cells are going to continue to track right along the U.S. border. We'll look at these ones a little further here. You can see all the lightning associated with these. You can see they're starting to track off to the east as well. And to pop out the lightning, you can see the cells. Some of these cells could produce nickel-size hail. Certainly, as you saw, a lot of lightning with these as well, and huge downpours. Certainly possible. We could clip the edge of this development in Calgary, so we do have the potential of getting a thunderstorm this evening. We also have the potential of getting a thunderstorm tomorrow evening, and then we'll get more stable after that. With the humidity for the next, well, really the rest of this week, we'll feel like 34, and as you can see, daytime highs will be well into the 30s. That's your Capital Chev 5-day forecast.
Thank you. Okay, let's bring Danielle in now and get our first peek at the forecast. It's a beautiful night out there. It's actually quite calm, but in fact, there's a lot going on out there.
Exactly, like this puzzle behind me with a lot of layers here. So I'm going to quickly talk about it. I'll talk about it more a little later in the show, but just to briefly talk about this. So you can see this outer line here. All the way down through Banff, we have the air quality statement in place because of smokier conditions. In the orange, severe thunderstorm warnings. In the yellow, severe thunderstorm watches. And Calgary, under the excessive heat warning, still in place, will remain in place most of the province under that because we have this excessive heat. 30 degrees right now, feeling closer to 33 with that humidity. For Calgary, you may have noticed it smell a little smoky out there this morning. We're sitting at an air quality health index level 4, which is moderate. We may even bump to 5 tomorrow. So if you are sensitive to the smoke, this is something to be conscious of. For tomorrow, similar high of 31. We have the risk of thunderstorms later this evening and also so late in the day tomorrow. Your full forecast coming up, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. Bring in Danielle. That's the problem, though, right, Danielle? As we see in that big red map behind you, it's not cooling down at night, so that's why people are running the AC constantly. They just can't get relief.
Running the AC or having carrots and cream.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Find your creative ways to stay cool. There's lots online as well that you can find for tricks, especially for the kids, to have fun with the kids. Anyway, yes, it's hot. We're under an excessive heat warning, and this excessive heat warning is here to stay until at least the middle of next week. 30 degrees right now in Calgary. This is just the base temperature, so keep in mind you can add at least a few degrees if you're going to be in the sun, because this is measured in the shade, and when you factor in humidity as well. So it feels hotter than these temperatures here. 31 in Brooks and Medicine Hat, a high 20s for Pincher Creek in through Lethbridge. All right, let's talk about the smoke. If you were outside, especially even closer to the States, you noticed maybe a bit of a smoky smell, especially earlier today. We did have a little bit of smoke from some stateside fires that did creep in. We even had a little bit of haze from that in Calgary. But the worst of it and most of it, so in the green here, is getting redirected up and around us because of this ridge of high pressure. So we aren't looking at really dense smoke moving our way in the next little while, but we were at a 4, so moderate on the scale here, and we may jump to a 5 tonight and tomorrow. So if you are sensitive to the smokier conditions, something to be aware of. Also, Banff up to Jasper now under air quality statement because of a fire actually going on in the Columbia Icefields area. So some of that smoke is carrying in here, so it could be quite dense at times, even reducing visibility. Every other area outside of Rocky Mountain House and Banff, because those areas will be dropping below 14 degrees tonight, every other area are looking at the hot days, hot nights, and under the excessive heat warning. And then let's snap in these watches and warnings that are in place for the foothills, especially near Rocky Mountain House, where we have the warning in place in the far, far southeast corner. Here's the radar so you can see what's happening. This is just about out tracking towards Saskatchewan, right along the U.S. border, but it's these cluster of cells that I am watching and certainly keeping an eye on for you, but a lot of it dying out in intensity. We don't have the environment in place around the QE2 and around Calgary now, but in a couple of hours we may. So be on the lookout. There is the potential, even along the QE2, even in Calgary this evening, for a thunderstorm, and that will certainly continue further off to the west of us over these next couple of hours. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine, late day risk of a thunderstorm, a high of 31 for the next couple days. And in fact, the humidity will feel well like 34. But then you look at Tuesday, base temperature 34 will feel closer to 37. So be prepared for it to get even hotter in the coming days. Tara.
Thank you, Danielle.
Okay, Capital Chev Skywatch camera, and it's nice if you can handle the heat and if you're very creative or have air conditioning, depending on one of those situations. Because yes, it's hot, and believe it or not, it will get hotter as we go through the rest of this week and especially early next week. Currently, we are sitting at 30 degrees. Today's high 31, feeling closer to about 32, 33, even 34 with that humidity. And of course, if you step out in the actual sunlight, there are many watches and warnings in place. So we're going to do this in some layers here. And you can see in the red, this is the excessive heat warning in place. Calgary, yes, included in that, most of the province except for Rocky Mountain House and Banff area, and that's because they'll drop below 14 in the overnight hours. Still hot during the day, but a little relief at night. Banff up to Jasper under the air quality statement right now because of a fire going on in the Columbia Icefields, and we're getting some smoky conditions there. Now we also have watches and warnings to talk about with regards to thunderstorms, and you can see in the yellow, that's the watch, which means there's the potential of these extreme storms or severe storms to move on in. But in the orange, we have the warnings, which means we do have cells there that are creating some larger size hail, some bigger downpours, and of course you can see lots of lightning with these. So I'm going to zoom in and show you what's going on, and you can see a cell near Caroline right now. This one likely producing up to nickel size hail, or at least the potential in this next little bit. And then around Stettler we have this, and this is tracking to the south, so on its way to Big Valley. Again, all of these cells could come with big downpours, some larger size hail. All right, we're looking at 37 tomorrow for Kamloops. Lots of sunshine for the southern interior BC. Along the foothills once again tomorrow, we are looking at the potential of some thunderstorm activity that could track all the way to the Kiwi2, Olds, Calgary, High River. When we look at 33 for Lethbridge for tomorrow, Medicine Hat 35. Capital Chev, 10-day trend, only getting hotter. In fact, by Tuesday of next week, 34. Feeling closer to 37 with the humidity. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. Calgary has